Hello and welcome to our review for the 12th episode in the 7th season of The 100. We just got done watching The Stranger, which I think was a pretty good episode. I really enjoyed the pairings and the in Bardo and the cells that they have. We had Clark and Octavia at the end. We had Hope and Jordan about halfway through, and we start off with Raven and her sister, Echo. Sorry, there's a lot of names, a lot of characters in this show, and a lot of things that even happened in this episode alone. I think what I really liked about this episode is there was quite a bit packed into it, a lot of action, a lot of intrigue, and it set up the next episode to be really, really interesting. I thought that cliffhanger was a great cliffhanger to leave the episode on, because I wasn't sure when we were going to get to the people reconverging and getting back together. I think with the way they had Gaia kind of leave, it looked like the stone fell into the ground, and that meant that the stone, in my mind, was out of the picture. Maybe these people were going to be separated for who knows how long, maybe the rest of the season. Somehow things had to come back to interact with each other, else like what's the point of telling that story? Why not just follow the people going off to the last war? I know I saw some stuff online about the flame being repaired. Like, why would they show that at the beginning of the season if they weren't planning to like bring up that why they were burying it right there in the farmhouse? But I forget if we actually talked about it ourselves. Do you know if we ever cover that at all?
If we talked about the flame being buried or being repaired?
Being repaired.
I think so.
I think when we were running through the possibilities of who was going into the last war, it may have came up, but it's hard for me to keep track of what I saw online and what we talked about at this point. I've been reading a lot more on Reddit this year than previously. In fact, I never read it at all. None of the 100 stuff before this season, so it's really interesting to see what other people have to say and with things I missed, because there's a lot of really smart people watching the show pointing out a lot of really, really cool stuff. What did you think about Nelson dying in the beginning? I think you maybe thought it was a bit extreme or gruesome, the way they killed off all the children of Gabriel.
I mean, I guess I'm not that surprised by it. I was just more shocked by the choice to show it, like the way that Nelson was killed. I don't know. It's very like direct violence, but I don't know. I guess I'm not that surprised that it happened.
Yeah.
Nelson, like, it played out exactly how I'd expect it to play out for the characters involved.
I mean, it's really just in character for Shade Haida to kill off everybody for, not even a leader's actions. He just decided to kill off all the faithful, kind of to show you that he's back. From what I remember, when he killed off all those people, he's just like, well, I'm here. Followers, come follow me now. But what I liked about it was he used a gun, because Indra and all the grounders, when the people came down from space, they didn't know how to use guns. They didn't like guns. So maybe that has more to do with, I guess it'll be interesting to see when they do the prequel how they cover the topic of guns and using guns in the Mountain Men, because how does it make any sense that he knows how to shoot a gun like that and kill most of the people that he's aiming at? I mean, when he wanted to kill Nelson, he just shot him right in the head. It did not look like it was difficult at all for him to use guns. So, I think that builds a really interesting backstory to him, and maybe whatever crew he's from, maybe they were kind of some people who actually liked guns or used guns or something along those lines. I think he might be Sangata crew, like Knight, but I can't remember if they ever actually established that or where he's from exactly. I feel like they must have at one point, right? His name's like Malachi. It's Calm something rather. I don't know. If you know, make sure you let us know in the comments below, because both of us, we've forgotten. It's been a little while since they covered that. I like the stuff with Amori and Murphy this episode. It was a little bit weird how Amori and Indra said to him, "Oh, we're so proud of you. Like, you know, within
Yeah.
a minute of each other. And it's like, yeah, sure, it's kind of out of character for him, but he's done really good things before too. He just hasn't been quite so selfless. And it's almost to the point where it was silly when he walked out to meet um, Shade in the machine shop. Why wouldn't he just stay behind the reactor door?
Well, I think that's kind of why they had that, like the ego stroking of the male, by Indra and Amori, right?
What? I don't understand.
They stroked his ego, and he was like, "I'm so great, I can solve anything. I'm gonna go talk to Shade by myself, even though I know for a fact he has like 15 people with." Come on, classic dude.
Well, I think it's more just setting up the plot so that he's a character that he can they can do more than just sit in a bunker. Like, what purpose can he do in the bunker?
You were just asking, like, you were just commenting on the fact that Indra and Amori were like, "I'm so proud of you."
Yeah.
That was a setup for him to do something stupid, which he did.
Yeah. He wasn't himself. You're right. I guess you're right. Yeah. But I think more than anything, it just kind of serves the storyline more in the future. Murphy can be more selfless out next to Shade and all the action, whereas everybody who's in the reactor is relatively safe for now. So he can kind of continue on that character arc is all I'm saying. Yeah, maybe it's kind of dumb. Maybe it actually ultimately works out in everybody's favor because he can do more out there than he could inside. But I still think Amori is going to have more to do in this season. I don't think she's just going to sit in there.
Yeah, I
for
don't
the
think
rest
they're
of the
going to sit
season.
in there like more than an episode or two, maybe.
Shade may be dead at the end of the next episode, which would be kind of sad because I kind of would like to see him stick around until the very last episode. I mean, we all like the actor who plays him. I think this whole dynamic that he has of being Shade is really interesting, and I want to see as much of that as possible.
I mean, I guess at this point I'm kind of thinking about how it seems unlikely that we're developing this like super villain in one half of the show, and on the other half of the show, we're literally seeking a super villain essentially, right?
Yeah.
They don't know what it's gonna look like. It seems highly unlikely to me that those two are not gonna connect at some point, and that like Shade in some form is the war.
Yeah.
Or the enemy of the war. Because there's like 4 episodes left now? I mean, that's not very much time to like introduce a whole new enemy and complete an entire war, unless the war has been being fought like all this time.
Well, I think he's proved that he understands people really well, and he understands tactics really well. Shade he's a master chess player, and whatever tests that they have to end up passing, I think won't just be moral tests. I think there will be things like games of chess that they'll need people with different strengths to contribute towards, and Shade has, I think, shown that he does want to have everybody under his banner, but he doesn't want them dead if they can be in his banner. Like, he does on some level care about the group, and he wouldn't want every last human dead. That doesn't really seem like his motivation. He just wants them to bow to him and serve him for whatever reason, but he doesn't want there to be no humanity. So I think he will eventually maybe go off into the light and have to work with Murphy and Clark and Maddie and a bunch of people that hate him but kind of need him. At least that's what I think they're going to do with the rest of the season, but who knows. This whole stuff with Bellamy's really thrown like a wrench in the whole dynamic, and I saw some people saying that it'd be cool if he became a better shepherd than Bill, if he was able to kind of like commandeer the faithful disciples and like actually live by the message that Bill, he talks, but he maybe doesn't live by. And it seemed like maybe the writers are planting that in this episode, but by having Bellamy confront Bill and say, I forget what he said exactly, but Bill calls him out and says, "You're asking if I live by
Right.
the philosophy
The
that I
test,
preach. Um,
Which is interesting. Like Bellamy's literally testing the shepherd. I mean, maybe Bellamy's the evil enemy.
mhm. I mean, that part to me is really interesting because that kind of reminded me more of Bill's interactions with his daughter, Callie, how
Mhm.
she was always challenging him. And I think Bill said that Bellamy reminded him of his son Reese, who was more of a faithful person, um, and you know was a loyal follower of the cult of the Dawn or whatever they call
Mhm.
themselves, Second Dawn. Um, and it may have been him just kind of wishing that that Bellamy was more like a faithful follower than actually recognizing what he was. And that's more like Callie, somebody who may end up betraying Bill. I don't know. It's hard to really say because Bellamy does seem like a real true believer, and there could be some kind of supernatural force that has chosen him to be a shepherd, a new shepherd to help lead people. And I still think it's possible that whatever Murphy saw was some being, whatever led Bellamy towards this path, kind of pushed Murphy away from being selfish, saying you're gonna end up in a really bad place if you don't start acting a little bit more selflessly, and that's when he started doing more for the people around him, like Bellamy and Clark. He started to actually put his life out on the line a little bit. Um, but I don't know. I could be wrong with that. Who knows? I do like that Luca is still around, and that Maddie's got friends from like the different tribes. She's kind of doing the one crew thing, even though she wasn't underground with one crew. She's doing the whole, hey, we're all like on the same side here for all mankind. Where is Jackson? We talked about this last week. He must be filming.
They kept referencing him, so he must be, coming back at some point.
It's a shame because the only thing that makes sense to me is his schedule didn't line up for the last season. They just needed him in too many scenes, and he couldn't make it because he's trying to do other shows and maybe get on other things, maybe movies. And that's, I think, partly why we haven't seen Gaia. I saw somebody say that in our comments to our video, which is great. I love that. Yeah, somebody was like, oh, the reason she hasn't been around is because she's filming another show. I think it's the Sabrina one. So
that's cool.
I kind of want to see what she is in that.
It's a pretty good show. But I wonder if she's in the same place that Cadigan just sent, everyone else. Is possible, right? I mean, I don't see why not.
Mm-hmm.
That would be kind of interesting to see if they even show that. I kind of feel like this late in the season, they're probably just going to be like, oh, look, Gaia and everyone's back, and not really show anything.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, I don't know.
I wonder where they sent the fighters. I guess it would make sense to send them to Penance, but then if it takes too long for people on this mission to get back, then they're going to be old people.
Maybe they went to
the pilgrimage place.
Yeah.
I don't think they sent them there because then they'd have to go up the mountain to get back. That seems a little bit cruel and unfair. I think they sent them to Nakara, or maybe there may be a planet that we haven't seen yet. It'd be interesting if they sent them there.
To a new planet.
Yeah, because we've seen I think like 4 or 5 planets, and I think there was like 5 or 6 on the map. One was red, and one was blocked out, and I think that's Earth. So maybe he sent them back to Earth. It's not impossible, is it? Maybe I forget what happened to the thing in our Earth wherever they took the stone. I think they went to Earth actually.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I really like the line with Octavia and Clark both being like, we've both got kids that we're looking out for. Clark's got Maddie and Octavia's got Hope. That's a really nice parallel. I like the way that Hope and Jordan were talking to each other because it was the similarities between the characters was something brought up by the fans, and I know that the writers were kind of expecting people to pick up on that and put the actual connection between the two people relatively late in the season, so people had time to actually be like, oh, wouldn't it be great if these two characters talked a little bit about that? And yeah, I thought it was really well done. The way Hope was talking about how she got her parents killed, and Jordan was like, um, well, talking about Dioza, not just Dev. He said she did what she did to save your soul, not your life, and that's a very Jordan-like thing to see, a very wise thing for somebody to actually see, right after that atrocity. So it was great to see him be there for Hope like that, and it's possible that there's going to be a little love romance thing, but I don't think they'll develop that this late in the last season. Seems very unlikely. It can be a ship thing.
Maybe the last episode is just gonna be like,
hookups.
everybody gets married, yay! And then they just like do, like a classic Jane Austen, like 17 people marriage type of party thing.
You got a prequel and like an after, like 100 years after. Unless everybody transcends and becomes light beings, then we can't really make a show out of that, can we?
Then they'll all be living in a cave, so.
I love the way Clark said, "Go float yourself" to Bellamy. Nice callback to earlier seasons and the lingo that they used to use way back when.
Yeah, it's been a while since we heard that, huh?
It was cool. I enjoyed that. I like the stuff with Trey. See, there's so much packed in here. I'm sure I'm leaving things, but I liked how Trey was saying maybe we should kneel. He really didn't like Murphy just a couple episodes ago, and now he actually really respects him and listens to him because Murphy's like, don't do that. You're just going to get yourselves killed, and nobody wants that. The father is that that Murphy saved way back when was like, oh yeah, like, listen to Murphy. Thank you. I'm glad I trusted you. You are a great person. Knight making the Throne of Skulls was pretty cool. I think they showed that actually in the trailer for this episode, so we knew that was coming. But still pretty fun to see nonetheless. Felt kind of like Game of Thrones or something silly like that. I don't know, what else is there to say? We got 6 people that went through to Sanctum. Raven, Clark, Doucette, Bill, Bellamy, and Gabriel. I think that's very brave of Bill to go. I don't think he knows what he's walked into.
Well, none of them do, but yeah.
Out of all of them, though, I think he's going to be the one that's handles it the worst.
Yeah.
He's going to die like that, and then Bellamy's going to be like, what do I do? What do we do? Well, I guess we're going to need
shepherdship.
Him or Doucette. But
it's possible. Or maybe, just throwing another conspiracy theory here, maybe Cadigan gets like all wrapped up in Shadehaida and they become like an evil, like, power duo thing.
Maybe Shadehaida knows about the cult of the Second Donner. I don't know what they're called exactly.
I mean, yeah. Possible.
Because he's from kind of like a long time ago, and it could be that he heard about it. Maybe his parents were followers of the faith, but the real true faith as we know it was kind of developed in the bunker. So I don't really know how that could happen exactly. Well, actually I do, because some of the people from the bunker left and created all the tribes.
Yeah.
That's how all the tribes were made. So not impossible. In fact, potentially seems actually pretty likely.
You heard it here first. Maybe. Probably not. I'm sure someone has to come up with that already.
Yeah, no, totally. I think that's everything I wanted to say. Is there anything that you want to add before we wrap this up?
I don't think so. Good episode. The Stranger. I don't even remember who the Stranger is. Is it who?
Bellamy.
Is Bellamy?
He's a stranger
that's
to
right.
them all.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it didn't really. Sometimes they really hammer home the point. This one they didn't really.
Yeah. Nobody's like, I am the stranger. You are a stranger.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he was the only one that really fits into that role of stranger. We didn't see anybody else kind of, I don't know, introduce themselves or reintroduce themselves to anyone else.
Well, I was thinking of Clark to Cadigan, how he doesn't trust her and stuff. I don't even know you. I can't trust you.
Yeah. Or maybe it could have been about Jordan meeting the Strange.
Yeah, the Strange. The Stranger is actually a rom-com in the making. The last 4 episodes are totally changing course.
I love that, actually. That'd be great. Love it. Let's do it. Anyways, we'll see you around. Have a good one.